good evening. All right, so it's it's very late. It's very late. We were supposed to start at 7, but things happened, external things happened. But hello, hi, good evening to everyone who's here. So excited to be here once again, hosting a new show for our D3. Um, you know what? Let me make it formal. Welcome to Dicey Situations, the show where the dice aren't the only things causing chaos at the table. I'm your host, Ravi, and today we're diving headfirst into the unhinged, the uninvited, and the you had to be there moments of TTRPG madness. And today we're actually focusing on some not so good player moments at the table. And I'd just like to say it's going to be a quick one because it's late. Um, and I don't want to drag a little too much because time is of the essence. So, thank you to everyone who are joining or who has been waiting. And I apologize profusely for being too late. The weather was not on my side. The traffic was not on my side because I went outside and touched grass. But here we are, and we're finally kicking things off for dicey situations. So yeah, dicey situations will be all about the story. We'll be diving deep into a lot of different stories specifically for the TTRPG space. And today, like I said, we'll be focusing on players, specifically the problem players at the table. But before we officially begin, let me first say that this episode of Dice Situations, this very first episode of Dice Situations, is brought to you by Noctis, your favorite destination for dark, nerdy, and nostalgic streetwear. Whether you're repping your favorite TTRPG class, channeling some cryptid core energy, or you just love a good graphic tee, Noctis has you covered. Designed for weirdos, gamers, and night owls alike. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook at Noctis underscore clothing underscore LTD and upgrade your adventuring wardrobe today. Once again, that is at Noctis underscore clothing underscore LTD. That is Noctis NOCTEES underscore clothing underscore LTD on both Instagram and Facebook. And get ready, adventurers! The biggest game and board expo is headed to Osaka in 2026. And RD3 is proud to be an official media partner for this massive celebration of tabletop games, board games, and everything in between. From exclusive game demos and creator panels to indie showcases and collectible drops, BGBE Osaka 2026 is shaping up to be the event for gamers across Asia and beyond. We'll be there. Yes, you heard it right. RD3 will be there to cover all the action. So make sure to follow us for updates, behind the scenes content, and all access pass to the biggest tabletop gathering in the region. Mark your calendars, pack your dice, and we'll see you in Osaka. All right. So, with all of those out of the way, let's just dive in. Let's start with our first Reddit story. So, this is from RPG Horror Stories. This was posted 7 days ago. So, this is fairly new. Need advice for how to deal with problem player. All right, let's see what this story has. Oops. All right. So, we're starting off a little bit tame because this one is a little short. Hello, newish GM here. I'm wondering how to handle a player that upsets the mood on game day. I'm running a homebrew campaign for a party of lifelong friends, some experience with TTRPGs, others not at all. Before the campaign began, I found out a buddy was moving back to town, so I invited him to join the party. I knew it could be an issue, but I wanted to include him and give it a shot. He tries to argue with me constantly. He doesn't keep track of his spells or spell slots. He often sits on a couch nearby, drinking and questioning why people are doing what they're doing. His character sheet, nowhere in sight. When he gets hit, he spends several minutes complaining. When he misses a melee attack as a caster, same story. He seems to mostly want to point out plot holes or poke at the way others play, but rarely role plays. He often says he's bored. We all love him, but he makes D&D stressful for everyone. One player privately said that it's like we are all kids at the park finding cool sticks to pretend they're swords, and there's one kid going around making sure everyone knows they aren't swords and that swords are lame. I work hard on the campaign, harder than I should, but I'm slowly learning little tricks to make DMing easier for myself. I've asked him what he needs: more combat, less, a different character. He said he's having fun. What do I do? Okay, so this situation right here, this dicey situation, is I do think this is in one form or another. I think any DM has, like many DMs have experienced this type of player where they're really not that interested in immersing themselves in how to play, but they're having fun with it because of something outside of the rules and mechanics of the system. Um, like here, because apparently OP's friend said that he's having fun, but he's not really immersing himself in like the system and the rules. He's kind of indirectly making fun of the other players for role playing and getting into their characters and actually looking at their stats and sheet. So yeah, it's this is something that I personally have not experienced yet, thankfully, and hopefully never. But I'm sure other DMs have experienced and have had this player on their table. And I want this would be easier if I have a guest with me, but in future episodes I will definitely have guests. But if you're watching and you're a DM and you are someone who has had this player, or maybe you're currently playing with a player like this, what do you do? Like, what would you do? Because personally, for me, it's a little difficult, especially if it's your friend. They're having fun. OP said their friend is having fun, but the rest of the table isn't. And I it's a little difficult to just have your friend be the only person having fun while the rest of the table suffers. I would say that communicate with this friend, communicate with this person um who you consider as a problem player, and really just let everything out. All the things that you want to um all the things that you've noticed, you've observed that is not helping the game be fun for everyone. Because I believe that no D&D is better than bad D&D. I think this is a principle, a mindset that many DMs have. Because if you let one player suck up all the fun, then there is no game. There is no tabletop role playing game happening. It's just torture. It's emotionally and mentally straining because your players and even you as a DM are investing time and energy into making this game as fun as you could for everyone. And if a certain player isn't jiving with what the rest of you are doing, then there is a problem that needs to be weeded out. So I say either talk to him and make sure that he gets what the rest of the table wants, or let him know straight up, hey, the rest of the table don't want you at the table because they're not having fun with you. Because there's really no other way, at least in my head, to address this without telling this person how it is. There's no beating around the bushes here. You need to be very direct with this player and let him know what's up. So, let's look at some comments here. So, here we have someone from Cornholio8675, 141 upvotes. This person says, thanks for participating, but I don't think you're a good fit for my group. We can hang out and do other things. Right. I would say that's a great response because, like, you're still respecting your friend. You still want to be friends with this person, but just in game, it's not really jiving well with this person. So I like this response. And that person also also said the kids at the park metaphor is great, and the sticks are swords, and they are cool. Exactly. Like if someone is making fun of you for role playing, if a player is directly or indirectly making fun of the group for trying to pretend to play pretend, that's sucks. That's a bad situation to be in. Because if they do not want that, then why are they playing? It's a tabletop role playing game for some reason. For our reason, there is role play. There is RP, and if they don't get that, just play something else. We have another response from Brahmau, answering directly OP's question of what do I do? Ask yourself, why you're still keeping this guy around? LOL. He obviously isn't interested in engaging with your game. If he wants to chill with his friends, he can do it some other time. D&D night is for D&D. Exactly. 80 votes. I agree. Like, here's the thing. I have friends who I've introduced TTRPGs in and obviously the most popular is D&D, so that's what I explain to them. That's how I introduce them the world of TTRPGs. Some of them are interested. Some of them do not care. And I know for a fact that none of them would play this. And that's fine. My hobbies, my interests doesn't need to be the same as theirs. I don't need them to also be part of my hobbies if they don't want to. If they want to be part of it, if they are interested in learning, then great. Amazing. But if they don't want to, and I'm trying to like to pull them in even though they're not that interested, then it's not really going to work. It's not really going to work. Have separate like you can do different things with your friends. Even if you're the same friend group, all of you individually have different hobbies, different interests, different likes and dislikes. Just accommodate everything according to how you see fit. You don't need to fit everyone into one space. You can have different spaces for everyone. That's a thing. All right? That's if you're someone who is doing this thing where, oh, this is my friend, I should have him in this interest that I like, even though I'm not sure if they like it. Try to not do that and instead find something that you both like and you're both interested in. And that way, you're still having fun in different avenues and different outlets. All right. Again, TLDR, keep your interests varied and different so that you can have time and space for every one of your friends. No, if you have a lot of friends. Lastly, someone said when he said he was having fun, that was your cue to say you might be having fun, but my players and I are kind of getting the impression that you aren't really into this. It's frustrating when you're always saying that you're bored and talking shit about us and the game. You can then either give him a chance to change the way he's doing things, like I said, or just tell him that you guys should find something else to do together another night of the week. He's not going to be happy about it, but offering to do something on different days is the peace offering here. Exactly. Compromise. You should meet in the middle. There's always a middle ground. This applies in everything. Relationships, friendships. There should be a middle ground. There should be a compromise. There should be an agreement that everyone follows so that everyone is having fun. This is a story that I think a lot of us relate to. It all boils down to just letting people know what you think. Communicate. Be honest. Feelings will be hurt, but it is what it is. You cannot beat around the bushes here, like I said earlier. Be direct. Be stern with what you're going to say. All right. So yeah, so other people said here the fun he's having at the cost of everyone else's. This isn't sustainable. Exactly. So there's a lot more. And sadly, no updates. I don't see any updates from this person. Um, yeah. Oh, OP had an additional had additional things to say. To be clear, besides this, the party is awesome. Good to know. People take notes, follow and shape the story, pursue their own interests, and want to talk about their characters' choices outside of table time. That sounds amazing. But it sounds like I need to have a good chat with him and let him decide if he wants to play make believe swords with us or not. Exactly. I don't have the heart to boot him without talking first. Of course. You have to talk to him first. You have to make sure you both are meeting in the middle. And if that's not working, then just don't separate your interests. Just have a different thing with him or her. Okay. Let's go to the next story. So this will be our second and our last story as well. Like I said, this stream will be a little bit quick. Uh, but if anyone has something to say about these stories, maybe after the live stream, just leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on any of these two stories, actually. So this is a little longer than our first story, and it's a little more specific. But let's see. Title is this is from still RPG horror stories from OP, and you will be cured. Now, this is a story all about how I encountered that player trademark. Okay, interesting title. So this is from OP30 female. I 30F love D&D. After my main campaign has ended abruptly, I enjoy being a DM here and there and even have a small and sweet campaign of my own. But I still miss actually playing myself. So I jumped on the opportunity. The group was a mix of friends, all males. This is important, I promise, who offered me a seat. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it is important. I brought my favorite character, a female dragonborn barbarian with the charisma of a brick wall. And then there was Andy. This was my first time meeting Andy in person. Andy was a first time player and asked the party to help him with character creation on the spot. He arrived late, ignored my greetings entirely, although he greeted all his male friends, and sat down with another player to build him a character. A drow warlock whose hobbies included enslaving people and sulking in the darkness of his heart. Before the start of the game, I ducked out to the bathroom, leaving my stuff at the table. My character's sheet, my dragon mini, dice, etc. I returned 2 minutes later to find Andy planted in my seat with all my stuff in front of him, chatting with his buddy next to him. My, hey, that's my spot, was met with radio silence. He kept nonchalantly listening to his buddy, paying no attention to me. Another player, bless their soul, scrambled to give me their chair. I should have left then, but I didn't. I was intrigued. I was hooked. But also, I never fully clicked with the story after that, though I gave it my best shot. And what followed was pure entertainment. From the scientific point of view, obviously, we have three bullets here. First bullet. Every time my sweet, dumb Dragonborn did basically anything, raging in combat, arguing with a noble quest giver, interacting with other characters, Andy snorted, quote unquote, classic one moment. During a second bullet, during a tense negotiation, Andy announced, I'm bored. DM, can I sacrifice a kid to my goddess? The DM, to his minimal credit, said, and I quote, no children, but there's sheep outside the city. We had to stop the negotiations for Andy to roll perception and find some poor sheep. Okay. Last bullet. After nearly dying in his first ever combat, Andy declared, I'm skipping the next encounter. Someone loot the bodies for me. He then spent the next fight on his phone while the rest of us actually played D&D. So I left after our session ended early. I strongly believe that I was not the only one who was annoyed with all of this. But they said nothing. Andy left the same way he came, not acknowledging me in any way. And the DM was basically enabling him all this time. Am I right? I am not returning to this table, but at least I was morbidly entertained for this one session. And I hope so were you while reading this. All right. So, an insult, a misogynist, like tick boxes, like my mental checklist of what I have in my, like the checklist that I have in mind as soon as I heard all males, an all males table, and then just her. I kind of saw where this was going. So this one was not surprising, but very disappointing. Obviously, very disappointing, very disgusting behavior. No. Uh. See, this is why I Lord, if you're a woman in the TCRPG space, I I just like, and you are part of like a group that's all males, I hope you have a good experience, because a lot of the stories that I've heard from like one girl on the table and then the rest are like men. Most of the stories that I've heard about that kind of table setup is scary, terrifying. It's not good. And I'm not saying all tables are like this. All tables with this kind of setup are like this. I'm not saying that, but many tables with this kind of setup has this sort of has this kind of story to a lesser degree or to a more serious concerning degree. So uh this sucks. Obviously this sucks, and I am puzzled. I am bewildered because nobody is trying to speak up at this table. None of the other men in this table were defending her. Like, we're trying to at least stand up for her. So already like sirens are blaring. Flags are painted red. So I'm happy that she said that she was not going to return to this table. Like, yes, girl, absolutely. Do not. Like, this isn't a table for you. This isn't a table that you're going to have fun with. It's just going to be, again, it's just going to be torture. Whew. Like, this is sad. Honestly, this is just a sad situation to be in. But she was entertained. She was entertained. So let's see the comments actually. From actual underscore magician 3773. Dude sounds like an edge lord and an incel. What I said. What I said first. Incel. Absolutely. 100%. This person hates women. Like, that's There is no other reason for him not to talk to OP. Like, really ignoring OP all throughout. Just plain disrespecting her for no goddamn reason, aside from her being a woman, obviously, because that's what incels are, you know, famous for. Someone else said, so he sat in your chair in front of all your stuff, and no one at the table told him to move. Exactly, my question. No one mentioned how he just ignored you. Sounds like you're better off without that group. They're either okay with his actions or have zero backbone. Eh, Not either. Like, both of these could be true. They both are okay, and maybe they're both okay with it, and they have zero backbone. Like, are we surprised? Um, Lastly, someone else said, check out, he hasn't slipped anything in your notes. He gives you the impression he tried to woo you in the Andrew Tate way by being a complete little shit stain about it. Ooh. Bethany Cullen said this. Bethany Cullen, you kind of ate that. You ate that one. Um, yeah, the rest of the comments here is just same sentiments. Yeah, like this man just sounds like a bad time at a table. And he's a first time player too. It's not too late for him to leave the community. Like, we don't need someone like him. No. Like, we don't need people like him in our community, because it just makes any table where he's gonna be a part of sour. Like, if ever this Andy person joins another table with several girls, what would he do? He would be a disgusting prick. So I just hope he's gonna stop playing. I just hope he's gonna stop playing. But there's an update here. Hey guys, thank you so much for your support. And rest assured, I made the DM aware of why I am not returning to the table. Yes, I did this only after the session and not during, since I did not feel like making a scene in the middle of the session. The battle without Andy's involvement was actually pretty decent, but not enough for me to stay. The DM said that he will consider my reasoning. However, I'm not really interested in knowing if this is something he acted upon. Good. Good for you, girl. I love how you are stern with your decision. Because honestly, let me just say this DM would have said something immediately on the table on the game day, even if he would have made a scene, even if he would have made a scene to make sure that you, the only one in the table, are comfortable. But he didn't. He never said anything. He never did anything. The rest of the table didn't do anything. So they didn't really care in the first place. And the DM said that he will consider my reasoning. What do you mean he would consider your reasoning? There's no considering your reasoning. There should be no considering your reasoning. There should be immediate action. There should be concern. There should be worry. There should be like, oh, I am so sorry that this happened. I like it's just baffling to me how there's still consideration needed to happen here because of your situation. It's like cut and dry. It's a cut and dry case, but they're still considering something. So they didn't really they didn't really care about OP here. And I'm glad that OP is not returning to that table. She deserves a table that actually is open to everyone. You know, like every player wants to have fun with it, wants to make a great story, wants to be in a game that's involved. So yeah. And if you're someone who isn't this kind of table, it's not too late to leave. It's not too late to leave. Like I said, No D&D is better than bad D&D. No game is better than a bad game in any system. So, and to any man who feels like this, to any people here, to any person here who is like Andy, get out, think about what you're doing. Think about, is this making me happy? Is this making me, I don't know. Is this making life fulfilled? Think about your choices. Whew. All right. So, hi CJ. Hi. Hello, hello. So, yeah. I think that's all of the stories that I have for today. Um Thank you so much for being here, everyone. This is a little bit short, I know. Um but I'm not gonna promise, but I'm gonna do my best for the future streams of this show, Dicey Situations, to be a little more, a little longer. Um, right now, the only reason why I cut it short is because of how late I was coming in. But definitely next time, more stories to come, more categories, guests as well. Look out for guests. I will be inviting a lot of friends, a lot of people from the community to share their insights because honestly, it's more fun to yap with someone else. If I'm just talking to myself here, it is not really there. It's fun. It's fun to yap by myself, but it's more fun if I yap with someone else here. So definitely in the next episode of Dice Situations, I will be having maybe one, maybe two guests. Who knows? But um yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for um being here, everyone. I am so happy to be kicking off this show that I'll be hosting regularly for RD3. Will be, if you have not figured out already, we'll be reading a ton of Reddit stories, all about, the TTRPG experience, the good, the bad, the in between of the TTRPG experience. Right now we focus on players. I don't know what we'll be focusing on next week. Not next week, next episode. When that is, who knows? Um, but thank you so much for watching Dicey Situations. Once again, I'm your host, Ravi. Join me next time. Now, go hydrate, roll high, and avoid party members who make you feel bad during the game. All right? See you next time. And good night, good evening. Have a great weekend, y'all. Thank you so much. Bye bye.